Hello, people from YouTube. Today, we are going to continue practicing for the SAT test, where we ace that test one problem at a time. My name is Javier, and I'm going to review with you the problems to help you pass or improve your scores for the SAT test. So for this video, we are going to continue reviewing the algebra section of the test. And these are hopefully we are going to be able to solve 4 problems. This is the first problem we are going to solve today. So the problem says 1 gallon of stain will cover 170 square feet of a surface. A yard has a total fence area of W square feet. So they are giving me the area. And this area has a surface of W. I don't know what the W is, but I know that the area is W. It says a yard has a total fence area of W square feet. So I know that this is a yard, and I know that a yard measures 3 feet. So I'm going to put the 3 feet here so I know the unit because this is 1 yard of this surface. It says, which equation represents the total amount of stain in gallons needed to stain the fence in this yard twice? So I need to stain, it says, I'm reading the problem, it says, which equation represents the total amount of stain? We need to find the stain. That's what we're looking for. We don't know how many stain we need to cover the fence. But then we need to cover the yard twice. It says, which equation represents the total amount of stain S in gallons needed to stain the fence in this yard twice? So we need to stain the area 2 times. That's what I'm understanding from this problem. So if one fence has the area of W, then if I needed to stain it twice, I'm going to have the same area here 2 times, and this is going to be also W. So I need to paint an area of W, right? And I know that if 1 gallon of stain can paint, because the problem says that I can paint 170 square feet, and this is my area, right? So to cover 2W, which is my area here in the problem, to cover 2W, how many gallons do I need? So we need to solve for the question mark. So this is a rule of 3 or proportionality rule in which I put what I'm trying to find out. So this is how I do it, guys. We know that 1 gallon covers 170 square feet. And then because we had to paint 2W area, so we're going to put the area below the area, and then we're going to find out the gallons. So the gallons, in this case, I don't know how many gallons I need to cover the 2W. So I'm going to put the question mark below the gallons because my question mark is going to be in gallons. So I'm trying to find the number of gallons. And that's why I put it below the gallon, because this question mark is going to be in gallons. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply the 2W times 1 gallon, and I'm going to divide it by 170. When you are doing a proportionality rule, you multiply in X, okay? And then your question mark goes on the left of the equal sign. So I have my question mark on the left of the equal side. This is going to be my numerator. The 2 amounts that I know, they're going to be my numerator. So I'm going to put 2 times W times 1 gallon divided by 170 square feet. 170, then I'm going to put here square feet. Now I know that my area is in square feet because it says 1 yard, and that's what I said, like, okay, 1 yard is 3 square feet. I don't know exactly how many square feet are, but I know that these 2 units, here are square feet and square feet. So they cancel each other out, and then I multiply 2 times 1, which is 2W gallons of stain, over then I'm going to have 170. So now I don't have in my answer choice 2 over W. The closest I have is no W divided by 170. That's not what we got. It's not 170 W. That's not what we have. It's not 340 W. The only possible choice is W over 85. So if I divide the 2 divided by 2, that's going to be 1 W. And if I divide the 170 divided by 2, because I'm cutting everything in half, that's going to be 85. So the right choice in this case is option D. And let me see if I can. Okay, so this is the right choice here. And this is the choice that we are going to click on the test. Okay, so for this problem, it says if x minus 5. Okay, so for my second problem, the test is asking me, okay, well, if x minus 5 over 7 equals to x minus 5 over 9, the value of x minus 5 is between which of the following pairs of values? So, okay, so now we know that x minus 5, the numerator is going to be, is going to make these two equations equal when x equals 5, right? But we are finding out how much should be x minus 5. So x minus 5, if you get it from both equations here, x minus 5 over 7 equals to x minus 5 over 7 over 9, sorry, x minus 5 over 9. The denominators will never be equal, but the numerators will be equal only when x equals 5. Yeah. When x equals 5, the whole numerator is going to be 0, okay? So this is going to be 0, and this value here is also going to be 0. Therefore, 0 is going to be equal to 0, which makes a lot of sense. Now, because it's the numerator they are asking about, and we know that it's going to be 0, between which two values is 0? Well, let's see. If we take the answer choices, we know that 0 is not between -9 and -7, so this one cannot be. We know that 0 is between a negative number, which is -3, and a positive number, which is 3. So this one can be correct. So 4.5 and 5.5, 0 is not between those numbers. This one is impossible. And 6.75 and 9.25 is impossible. 0 is between a negative and a positive number. So the right answer choice is going to be letter B. So for this one, you just need to pay attention to what makes the numerator 0. And then once that you realize that the numerator is 0 when x equals 5, you are going to find out where 0 falls within these intervals that you have in your answer choices. And that's all for that problem. Okay, so for this problem, the problem says, for line H, the table shows the value of x and the corresponding values of y. So these are the points of line H. And they are already telling me that the line H is a line. So I'm going to remind you guys that the equation of a line, the slope intersect form is mx plus b. We don't know m, we don't know b, but we have the points, so we can find m and b. So once that we find line H, it says line K is the result of translating line H down 5 units in the xy plane. What is the x-intercept of line K? They are not even asking me about the equation for line K. They are asking me for the x-intercept of line K. But because we don't have anything, we only have the points for line H, this is the plan. We need to find line H with the points. Then we're going to translate the line down units to find line K. And once that we find line K, to find the x-intercept, we're going to say that y equals 0, and then we answer and find the intercept here. So let's do that. We are going to find first m, because we don't have it. So the equation for m, this is how we find it. And my suggestion is that you guys try to memorize it because it's going to make your life easier. So you have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. x2 minus x1. Then we're going to decide, okay, well, decision. So this is 0.2, and this is going to be, let me make it easier, because these points have 0, 130, 160, they are easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and put, this is my 0.2, and this is my 0.1, and this is a tip that I'm giving you guys. Try to, if you can find the slope with numbers that end in 0, use them, because they are much easier to use than, 178, for example. So now we are going to plug them in the formula. So my m is going to be equal to, my y2 is the y coordinate of the second point, which is 160. So I'm going to plug it in here. 160 minus, now I'm going to use the y coordinate of my point 1, which is 130. I'm going to divide that over x2, which is the x coordinate of my point 2, which is 23, minus x1, which is the x coordinate of my point 1, which is 18. If I solve 160 minus 130, that's going to be 30 over, and 23 minus 18, that's going to be 5. And 30 divided by 5 is 6. So I know that my slope is 6, so I'm going to go ahead and erase it from here. And I know that this m should be 6. So I'm going to plug it in because we know it. Now we need to find the intercept of the equation. So to find the intercept of the equation, I'm going to use a point, and because these points end in 0, I'm going to use them, they are easier. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it into the equation, into this equation. So the y, let me use 0.2. So y is going to be 160, so I'm going to plug it in the formula. 160 is equal to, then I'm going to put 6, which is my slope, times x. So because I'm using 160, I'm going to use the x that goes with the 160, which is 23. 6 times 23 plus b. So 23 6 times, that's going to be as much as, let's solve it here on the side. So we have 6 times 3 is 18, and I carry over 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1, that's going to be 138. So all of this is going to be 138. So to not make it longer for you guys, I'm going to replace it here, 138. And because I'm solving for b now, we need to isolate the b. So we're going to take away 138 from this side. And we're going to take away 138 from the left side of the equation. This is at 3. All right, I'm having a hard time writing here, guys, but I'm going to make it happen. So this cancels each other out. B is going to be equal to 160 minus 138. So I cannot take away 8 from 0, so I need to borrow from this. Is going to turn into a 5/10. This is going to be a 10. And I'm doing this because I know that we tend to forget. So 10 minus 8, that's going to be 2. And then 5 minus 3, that's going to be 2. And 1 minus 1 is going to be 0. So my b is going to be 22. Okay? So now we're going to place it in the equation here. We know that this b is no more than, it is no other than 22. So we have the equation. So this is line, and then I'm going to change because this is line h of x, like the problem says. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, we have h of x here. So this is h of x. Because we have h of x, now we can find the other line, which is k. This is the line that we need to find the x-intercept. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to erase this. And now we are going to find line k. So for line k, what the problem is saying is that we need to translate the function down 5 units. So guys, when we translate the function down, we are translating the function in the y-axis. And the y-axis. So what we do, because we want the function to come down 5 units, we are going to subtract 5. And this is a tip that I'm going to give to you. If you are translating the unit, wait, before I make this tip, let me explain to you. If we translate the function up or down, we are going to subtract to the function or add. If we are translating down, we subtract. If we are translating up, we add to the function. So to find function k, to find function k, we need to subtract. To function h of x, we need to take 5 units. And that's exactly what we are going to do. So now, because we're subtracting 5 units, so I'm going to just take away 5 units from here to find function k of x. This is going to give me k of x, which is no other than the slope is going to be the same. So I'm going to have 6x, the same slope. And 22 minus 5 is going to be 17. So it's going to be plus 17. Okay, so like I said, when we translate up or down, if we translate up to the function, we add. If we translate down to the function, we subtract. Later on, we are going to learn how to translate horizontally, right or left, but we are not going to do that right now. One step at a time, like the channel says. I don't want to make it confusing for you. So let's just do the up and down translation. So we have k of x because we need to find the x-intercept of line k. So in any line that we have, when we're finding, this is the xy plane. Okay, so I just want to explain it here so you guys know. But in the xy plane, when we have any line, the point where the line intercepts the x-axis, that is the x-intercept. In this case, it's going to be this point. So at this point, x is going to have a value. I don't know which value is because it's a general line, but I know for a fact that y is going to be equal 0 because this point has not height, okay? So what we are going to plug in the function that we have now, we are going to plug in y as 0. So y is the case of x or the function. So I'm going to plug in 0 equals 2. Then I'm going to have 6x plus 17. Now we have to solve for x and find the x-intercept. So we take away 17 from each side. We take away 17 from here. Then we add the equal sign. And then we take away 17 from here. And then we are left with negative 17. And on the right side, we have 6x. Now, next step, we're going to divide by 6 everything. So we have the left side divided by 6. And we divide the right side divided by 6. So this cancels each other out. And then I have that x equals 2. We have negative 17 over 6. So my x-intercept, because we know that x equals 0, we know that y equals 0, x is going to be negative 17 over 6. That's my x coordinate, and then my y coordinate is going to be 0 of y. So if we look at the answer choices, doesn't look like this one. It doesn't look like this one. Definitely not this one. The only right choice that we have is option D, negative 17 over 6 and 0, and that's the answer. So let's move on to the next problem. Okay, guys, so for this problem says, question 46 on the website says, the triangle inequality theorem states that the sum of any two sides of a triangle must be greater than the length of the third side. So when you add the two sides, they need to be more than the length of the third side. Okay, so that's important. If a triangle has a side length of 6 and 12, and then I'm going to draw it. Okay, so let's suppose that this side is 6, and then the other side is 12. The question says, which inequality represents the possible lengths x of the third side of the triangle? So how long can this third side be? And this is x. Okay, so we know that 6 plus 18, 6 plus 12 is 18, right? So let's keep that number here. Because the theorem says that the sum of any two sides of triangle must be greater than the length side of a triangle. So we know that our triangle has to be less than 18 because the sum has to be greater. So that means that this side apparently has to be less than 18. Okay. And then you can say like, okay, well, the answer is answer A. I want you to slow down for a moment before you say that, because we need to think about it. Greater than 18, that's not it, because the sum has to be less than. Okay, so we know that that's not the answer choice that we are looking for. If we look at option D, option D says that x has to be it has to be less than 6 but more than 18. We know that it cannot be more than 18, so we know that we have to cross it out. Now the question here is the A correct or is C correct? Guys, the thing is, like anything that is less than 18 includes the 0 and includes the negative numbers. So this side of the triangle cannot be 0. Because if this side is 0, then the triangle doesn't exist. And if the side is negative, then the triangle doesn't exist. So this answer choice is wrong. And the only possible and correct answer choice is that the triangle side has to be between 6 and 18, because that's what makes more sense. It doesn't include the 0, like this one, like option A. Okay, so be careful, because that's how they get the points away from you. The right choice here is option C, between 6 and 18. And with this problem, we are going to stop for today. If this video was helpful for you, please consider like, share, and subscribe. And so that keeps me motivated, making more content to help you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week, day, month. And we are going to keep seeing each other here in the next video, when I'm going to keep helping you master the algebra section of the SAT test to cover later on the next section. Thank you for watching.